Welcome to Inside Seed Club, your peek behind the curtain of the Internet Native Accelerator. Hey everyone, I'm Steph.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Josh.
What's up? Welcome to Inside Seed Club. All right, it's Friday, December 9th as we're recording this, and this is going to be coming out the Wednesday before Demo Day. It's a big day for us. We've been planning for a while. Josh, Nicole, tell us what's Demo Day? Why is it important? What happens?
Demo Day is when we all reach out, put our hands through the internet, and join hands to support and celebrate our projects. Yeah, we do that with like hundreds and hundreds of other people. I'm always shocked at when I speak to people that are marginally aware of Seed Club and they tell me, oh yeah, I was at Demo Day. I've been there, looking forward to the next one. Yeah, we run these accelerator cohorts a few times a year, and Demo Day is not when they pitch, but it's when they share. It's when they share what they've been building and when they share how to join and how to be a part of their adventure. So we're super stoked. We're doing a bunch of new things this session, and it's happening very soon.
Yeah, I think it's also just like the moment where you can really realize how different this is, I think, than like, probably what an accelerator in your head looks like or what a Web2 accelerator looks like. Demo Day's weird. There's a ton of GIFs, emojis. Energy is just like off the charts, and the stuff that projects are talking about is just, there aren't charts, there aren't like, revenue, like projections, there's none of that stuff. It's like, we're talking about why these people are building things that you are absolutely going to want to be a part of and participate in. And, the missions and adventures that they're going on are really, I think, like highlight what's special about this space now and also looking forward.
I don't know what happened to WAGME, but I still feel like it's alive in Demo Day. The fact that it's not this sort of cutthroat pitch valuation, if I succeed, you can't succeed. It's really about like sort of this collective support and celebration. Yeah, I think that that's another key piece of what we're doing here, is that this belief that it's a very, very wide, big blue ocean that we're all playing in, and that there's space for all of these amazing builders to succeed.
Yeah, what did happen to WAGME? I was thinking about that the other day. It's not really anything. It's like kind of cringe, right? Like imagine if we just tweeted WAGME right now.
I feel it just got co-opted into bad use cases. Luckily, GM's still hanging around and still feels good, at least to me.
Thank God.
GM is big as Seed Club. We're super into the GM still.
I like to say NGMI and GMI just like in casual conversation beyond Web3.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, I just wanted to, without it being like overly shilly about what we're doing next week, it's just a really big day for us at Seed Club. And we've been working pretty hard over the last couple weeks, especially to prep projects and working with them on refining their narrative and their storytelling. And we're going to talk in a little bit about a specific product that we're going to unveil at Demo Day. But Josh, you're here today. You are our product lead, product guy. And one of the things that we wanted to talk about was our new product, the Alumni Network. So yeah, just high level, like, what is it?
Yeah, I think like maybe even be useful just to take a step back and quickly talk about what product Seed Club is. And then I'll kind of step into the Alumni Network product. Really, like our entire network is focused on relentlessly serving our founders, right? And in the context of product, that basically just means building tools and experiences that both like allow our network to better serve our founders and allow our founders to better serve themselves, and really try to get us out of the way as much as makes sense. So far, we've built, a job board to solve the challenge of contributor acquisition, Club Press, which kind of solves the challenge of project meme and POV distribution. We built an accelerator portal to allow our community to help refine project applications and messaging. And yeah, now the Alumni Network, which we can go into deeper. Yeah, so I think like the easiest way to describe it is really just as the home or hub for alumni. The vision ultimately like for it is to really just put all this kind of insane potential energy that exists across our networks at the fingertips of our project founders. The core insight that really pushed us to prioritize it in the short term was just, realizing that no founders have the time or mental capacity to keep up with any Discord servers other than their own. And just generally how ineffective its noisy and ephemeral nature is. So as a result, there was kind of no point of aggregation really for our network and, alumni community specifically. So there's just really like a lot of value and like support being missed out because of that. It's also, I think everyone's kind of in this position, but it's also been pretty obvious from the beginning that Discord was always just going to be temporary, and we'd kind of like progressively pull needs and use cases out of it as they become a priority. So this is just, another example of that. Yeah, today, basically, it's a forum for thoughtful and persistent discussion of important topics. It's a directory that founders can use to, connect directly with each other. It also adds a bunch of legibility and transparency to all the services that us and our network offer, so they can easily book office hours with us, request fundraising, PR, legal support, stuff like that. And we'll continue adding to a growing list of support that we offer founders. Generally, like we're of course always going to want to have deep relationships with our founders, but there's a bunch of stuff like the above that's just way more effective to give them the power to do themselves. And that's kind of, the big reason to unlock that for them.
We were just talking with our contributors about the space and place that sort of the market is generally, and what place that puts each of our teams and our founders as well. And I think that there's so many tactical pieces that we're working on with fundraising and legal and token design and all of these really like hard objective pieces. But then there's the very important, cannot be overstated importance of the emotional support, the network, the fact that there's camaraderie in doing all of this together. So I think that that piece is also incredibly important. The other thing that we saw is that the cohorts, of course, everybody in your cohort really well, but the more cohorts we have, the less that people will know each other across cohort, and that's going to just continue to grow. And so the fact that the Alumni Network is going to become a place that's just for alumni, that's safe, that's designed for them, where they know that everybody in there has been through a similar, experience with Seed Club and is on a similar path, maybe at different stages, maybe in different industries with, different resources, but that this is really a place to come to find people that are going through a similar experience and can resonate with both the wins, so a place to share your wins, but then also a place to just look for support and advice and to know that, that this is an intimate and safe circle.
Yeah, I think we also just want to be as respectful as possible to our founders' time. They need to be focused on their project 99.9% of the time. And, we want them to be focused on their project 99.9% of the time. That 0.1% when they're coming up there to like ask for help or ask for a question or, reach out to Seed Club for support on something, like how do we make that moment as like dense and valuable as possible? And I think the only way, it's clearly not Discord, right? The only way to do that is for us to kind of like build something that's like natively built to do exactly that.
Well, I think this gets at the question I was going to ask next, which is like, I think a lot of communities are thinking about this, like what is the right platform to build community on in a non-physical world that we're playing in? So yeah, a lot of folks are using Discord, obviously. It's just because it's like the low-hanging fruit. There's a lot of adoption around it already. And then we also have a, alumni Telegram chat. I know a lot of other communities are utilizing Telegram. So there's like two things, right? It's like, how do we communicate with our core community? And then also, how do we just like have community in this digital world? And I guess one of the questions might be like, okay, we know Discord's not working. Telegram wasn't really doing it. So why go build a custom bespoke thing, right? Like what were some of the things that we were hoping to design around in terms of like a felt experience of the product itself?
Yeah, a big one is we want it to feel not quiet, but like not, overwhelming or noisy, or like this is here for you and not something that's like trying to like constantly grab your attention or pull you in. Ultimately, and we had some hints from a bunch of the Web 2 accelerators too. Y Combinator has their own, a lot of VCs have their own, talk to a bunch of, both people that run programs similar to ours and founders that went through them, and they all got a ton of value out of something similar to this. So we kind of had that signal that, long term, this is like absolutely something we're going to want and need, especially as we scale to, thousands and thousands of founders. And, I think another big motivation behind it was just we have the same or similar conversations cohort to cohort, and that's going to continue. So being able to like have this kind of log of those conversations, or like a place that they've been happening for like the previous year, that, these new alumni can go in and like really get up to speed on all the like collective sense making and thinking of this, like this alumni organism is, I think, critical. And then, obviously we started from, okay, can we just use a forum tool? Can this just be discourse? Can this just be whatever, maybe some Web3 token gated forum? But then, pretty quickly, if you look even just like a few months down the road, you realize all the native functionality that we want to pull into this. And, I think we're building a networked accelerator, right? And that's pretty different than, just this centralized accelerator where like we have our alumni and that's it. Like, I think longer term, really like this being the way that, our core community, which is our founders, can push stuff to this like growing network of like awesome and high leverage people to actually like get help and support is going to be a pretty awesome use case too, right? So could we have solved our problem with, a forum tool right now, or like the first like instance of the problem? Like maybe, but it was pretty clear that longer term we needed something. So
yeah, we're not designing something that's linear. I think that that's a really good point, that like this isn't sort of just like a unidirectional flow. The whole point of doing something and running an accelerator in this DAO way, which is certainly not the most straightforward way to run anything because there's no playbooks. We're designing the playbooks. But the benefit is that we do have this network that we're drawing on. And so as that continues to compound, having a place where we can draw on the benefits of that is key. I think also, maybe I'm only speaking for myself here, but I think because so many communications, like you said, live on so many places. So like, if you go somewhere like Telegram, for example, and you say, oh, I need to send Steph and Josh a message. I need to follow up on this piece of work that we're collaborating on. And you go on Telegram and there's 5 other notifications from 5 other teams that you're on. And quite quickly, you've completely forgotten what it is that you're doing there. All of these different platforms are designed to draw you in all of these different ways. That's not helpful. What we see with our founders is that the most successful ones are the ones that can manage their time and their attention really well. And so we want to also be designing in a way that supports that and that supports them coming in and having a great amount of value and not being in a place where they're going to be distracted and pulled away from their work, but rather a place that is additive and to their productivity and their momentum. And I think that we know that Discord and Telegram and all of these apps are not that because it's where everything else is happening as well.
Yeah. And so maybe like give some examples. It's like, I'm a founder, I'm a builder. What are the kind of questions I can bring to the Alumni Network and what are the things I might expect?
Yeah, I mean, I think an important thing is that we actually just don't know. Like we created this space, I think, made some intentional product decisions to keep it, not like over designed and keep it kind of open and raw to just like really see where, our alumni want to take it and what they want to use it for. But yeah, I think some of the early ones we're seeing is, a really good question and conversation around burnout and how to deal with it and handle it, especially in this insanely noisy Web3 world. Some good kind of treasury management discussions around stable coins and just how to effectively use your treasury. The questions that are really going to kind of find fit on here are probably the ones that founders struggle to talk about on like Twitter or like broadcast publicly, right? Like I think burnout is actually a good example of that, where it takes a very big level of vulnerability to share that and post that, and posting it in a place where not only does it feel safe, but it also like the right people to support it are there. You're not just going to, throw that out to like this random mass of people that are following you. It's like the people that have probably dealt with it or are currently dealing with it or, have at least thought a lot about it. So I think those types of questions make a ton of sense. But, even we're just seeing, projects post like partnership opportunities or, milestones or just anything that they want to tap into this like hive mind of other founders to get support on.
I just want to highlight your kiddo having a moment in the background. And yeah, so this is Inside Seed Club and all 3 of us are parents right now. And I just want to like amplify how just relatable that is right now.
It's a core part of our meme, I think.
Oh my gosh.
It truly
totally.
is. Yeah. We're a contributor team with a lot of kids. That would be an interesting offsite at some point. Just all of the many offspring.
Yeah.
All of the original non-fungibles.
Lots of babysitters, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. So on the product side, I mean, Josh, you alluded to this earlier that like part of our product thesis at Seed Club is to build things that are really going to be in relentless support of alumni and of builders, right? And so we have Demo Day coming up, which again is the culmination of the 12-week accelerator. We have another product that we're going to be dropping on Friday, right? Which is another example of what is a product that we can build that's like actually additive and supportive builders, right? So can you talk a little bit about, as much as we can, talk a little bit more about what's coming on Demo Day?
Yeah, you're bang on, right? Like the decision to prioritize this and build this now just came from a deep understanding of our founders' needs. One of the critical milestones for projects early on is there these like capital and community formation events, which increasingly often, both through our recommendations and just like what we're seeing broadly out in the space is that's done through the release of a membership and governance NFT. And I think, another big insight is the importance and difference in the types of projects that come out of Seed Club is still, I think, like broadly underappreciated across the ecosystem. And our projects, very often find it hard to stand out among like the sea of noise of, PFP and like random degen NFT projects. So I think really like the reason to build what we're calling Club Launch, and I'll describe it, is both to better transmit, our POV of why these types of projects or the projects coming out of Seed Club are important and valuable. And then also give our audience a clear and easy way to join and get ownership in the adventures that, they're laying out. Specifically, I think the way I've been describing Club Launch is really like an editorialized, curated mint platform for the absolute best top tier on-chain organizations.
Whew, that's a tagline right there.
It's a tagline.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be launching on demo day with 6 or 7 organizations from past cohorts that are actively minting and distributing membership governance NFTs, as well as a handful from this current cohort. Definitely a lot more in there that we can get into, but that's kind of the high level.
Yeah, because one of the things that we, at least from the media side of things throughout the year, right, the launch moment for so many of our alumni is when they put their token out into the world, right? And at the time we were kind of leveraging our existing distribution channels, and to your point, like it almost felt like we were just like screaming into this void of other either high hype or NFT projects, and it just felt like a really kind of a low value thing we could do, which was essentially just like tweet or write an email newsletter about it, or even if we did something more robust like a Q&A or something to kind of tell the story, it just like didn't feel like enough. So this, to your point too, anyone can go on OpenSea or any of the other sort of existing aggregate platforms and like search for cool like collectibles or even just like high value NFTs, but like this is highly differentiated, right? Because this is all about community ownership and community building. Yes, I think I'm super excited, especially as we move beyond the launch phase, right? There's a little bit more that we're going to bring into this product. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that too, Josh.
Yeah, definitely. A few of the big things we're bringing in are, so we're going to kind of heavily editorialize, I think, the platform, which I would love to have you talk about in a minute because you're the media master. And then we're also, we're bringing in like our trust and respect across the ecosystem as a good curator of projects. So, this platform's going to have that like inherent trust, like the projects doing things the right way that we deeply believe in are the ones that are going to be on here. And we're also bringing some features that are really focused. They're native to these community NFTs, right? That, are different than PFP projects or degen NFTs. And like a big part of these community NFTs is, who are the founders? Who else is in the community? Why are all these other people in the community? What do their treasuries look like? So a lot of these things that kind of help you, make the decision around like, do I actually, want ownership and to participate in this adventure and like spend my heartbeats there. So like things you need to effectively make those decisions will all be brought into this platform.
Yeah, I mean, on the editorial side, there's a few insights that I think led to this, and really going to give a shout out to Peace Node, who is the original sort of instigator of this integration. But beyond Web3, we see a long time emerging trend, but we're really seeing it solidify beyond just like sort of the high end brands and kind of coming down into more just like approachable price point brands where there's an integration of storytelling and editorial at the intersection of e-commerce. And I was telling this story to, I think maybe to you, Josh, or someone else, that I think that like my ISP, sold my information, and I just started getting a ton of like DTC mags. It was wild. It was like I'd get like 5 a day, and as like a storyteller, brand builder, and marketer, I found them fascinating, and I'd sit down and look at all of them just to like see who they think I am and like read the copy that they think I find attractive, which of course I did. I was like, this is so on point. But the thing that really stuck out to me in this weird moment was just the level of editorial they brought to all these products. It's like there was a way more focus on like products on people and people doing things like in their native environments. And so when thinking about how we can best support the like storytelling component of our projects, it's like makes so much sense to bring the storytelling and the narrative component right into the native like mint product itself. And so, yeah, we're going to come out on demo day with a real focus on just the communities themselves that are going to be on there. So the actual like mint pages are going to be, again, just like really focused on the community story. But yeah, to what you're saying, Josh, like moving into next year, we're going to start bringing more of that storytelling, focus on the builders, focused on the communities, fully integrated into that platform. I'm so excited for more of that. Just I see that as a real opportunity across the space at large for communities to lean really into the storytelling piece.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a really good way for us to highlight, the thing that we always talk about, which is the fact that, the NFT of these projects is like the least interesting thing that they're doing, right? It's just, critically on chain for many good reasons, many very specific to like each of the things that projects are working on. But like the interesting thing is the adventure they're going on and the invitation for you to come along and come build this thing. It makes a ton of sense to really like lean into the lifestyle, like what is the lifestyle of a DAO participant and contributor or on-chain organization. I'm super into on-chain organization.
I think it gets at demo day. It gets at, why we do demo day, why we do this. One of the conversations I really enjoyed at some point over the last week or two as a team has been, who we are and what we're going to be doing in 2023. And this exploration that I think we're constantly doing of like, what is like, obviously there's all these explorations. You may know that certain members of the Seed Club team are particularly obsessed with nounish models, but I think that the interest just hurls here.
Say names.
But I think that, this sort of flipping that conversation on its head and saying like, okay, what is a seed clubbish model? And, I think that we've seen so many times our projects come in and say, it wasn't until I was inside Seed Club that I really understood what it is that you do and the value of being here. Like I knew that there was something to this. And now I get it, which I think is both like our blessing and our curse, right? Because how do you quantify that? How do you tell that story? I know, Steph, that's a major piece of, what you wake up and the question that you try to answer every single day. And so I think that, any way that we can consistently do this by showing, again, like you said, Josh, that the NFTs are the least interesting part of this whole thing. It's actually what the communities are doing. And then sort of this like collective as a whole, whether it's demo day, whether it's club launch as a whole, or whether it's the stories that we're telling, I think that's a big question that we're going to be working on answering within this next year, which is, what is this Seed Club model? How do we quantify it and tell the story? Because we know it and we know it when we see it and we do it every single day. And the people that are part of it know it and understand it. It's why Alumni Network, it's why Club Launch, it's why all of these pieces. But how we do that beyond the circles that we're in, I think is one of our big challenges and opportunities for this next year. And I think one that we're all really excited about.
Yeah, I think like overwhelmingly the best way to, transmit our POV or make it clear what we're building here is through the examples of the projects that come out of Seed Club, right? Like you show Kraus House and you're like, this is literally just a community of basketball fans working to go collectively buy and govern an NBA team. And, because of this tech can now have this like heavily incentivized network who are all running their own experiments and sense making their own ways to all like collectively progress this mission, right? Like we can say a bunch of words, but until you see examples like this, and, I think Cabin's like another amazing one, like they've actually built this like decentralized city in the cloud on the backs of these like new coordination mechanisms, right? No amount of words can I think like do justice to what someone just going and hanging out in like Kraus House or hanging out in Cabin can do to transmit that.
I think it's what, I experienced when I was walking around NFT NYC, and I wrote a little piece like back then about it. But I also feel like when you guys were first describing Club Launch, in my mind, it was like walking around like the stalls in a Mercado. And I know we've sort of like played around with some of those metaphors, but the ability to kind of, anybody who's been in any sort of like open market and like you go from stall to stall or community to community. And that's what I experienced at NFT NYC, was going from our alumni team to team, party to party, event to event, and feeling like the connections, but also the like really interesting subcultures there that are being like represented and celebrated and grown. And so I think that like, I almost see this as another way to do that, basically to like walk around and experience those various cultures, but in the metaverse.
Josh just chatted something here in Riverside, and it's a good reminder that we're saying Club Launch. That's really kind of a code name. We're still, the alpha, the actual name of the product is going to come out on demo day.
I have a bunch of brilliant names that no one seems to respect, so we'll see.
We respect them. Mad respect. No, it's true. Josh is a trove of incredible names for things. We're talking about 2023 a little bit and how we're going to really think about, continuing this like relentless supportive builders and really actually leveling it up in a big way. And one of the things I'm thinking about from the media end, I've always been someone who like listens really carefully to the critiques of crypto, especially from the big media outlets. I'm just like curious what the people that I have like deep interest and alignment in, I'm just curious how they're thinking about the narrative. And following the FTX crash, the narrative, we've lost so much ground on narrative building, right? And so I'm thinking about my goal for 2023 and for us at Seed Club too is just like, how can we participate in building the next wave of on-chain organizations? And part of that is going to be messaging and storytelling. And in that, it's like, within Club Launch, it's like, look at these incredible use cases. Feels like such a terrible way to describe it because it's so like reductive to what's actually happening here. Like there's like actual culture and like meaning and value and like incredible things being built. But this feels really additive to that whole idea, right? That we want to be showcasing like, there's like really smart, really dedicated people working on this, really inspired by this, unprecedented technological innovation. So only good things can come from that.
Well, and it's things that we all enjoy, right? Like it's not sort of these like random like niches that, we look at that are sort of like all over the headlines. It's sports, it's food, it's music, it's fashion. It's not only those things, but it is those things. It's these, like very like tangible, relatable things that we're all into. And I think that that's the piece that can be really hard to explain of, imagine that, all of those things that you enjoy that you get together and build with those folks the same way that we already do, but that we get to do it in this new way. And so I think that that's the piece that is sometimes so simple that it's easy to overlook or for people to not understand.
Totally. It takes a bit more of a mental leap, though, than, music NFTs. It's like, oh, I can collect music, right? Or, generative art is like, this is just art, but now on chain, there's a bunch of cool properties there. And, they each have their own like native platform where you go that's like heavily curated and is like the place to go and buy those things. And now community NFTs will have one too.
Well, that seems like a good place to wrap us up for today. I mean, is there any last things you want to say before closing us out?
Come to demo
Hot
day.
takes, Josh?
Too many to close out with.
Too many to close out with, always. All right, well, yeah, thanks for coming through for this little second episode of Inside Seed Club. Thanks, Josh.
It was a
We
pleasure.
missed you last time, Josh.
We did.
Thanks, Steph.
I'll be here forever.
Yes. Josh
I
on
had a great
chain.
time. Hey, I had a great time. JoshOnChain.xyz.
/net
/ Evergreen Crypto Vibe. All right. Thanks, folks.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to Inside Seed Club. If you liked what you heard today, please rate us and leave us a review. This helps other Web3 builders discover these insights. Subscribe to Inside Seed Club to get the latest episode dropped right into your feed. And let us know what you think on Twitter. We're at Seed Club HQ. See you on the internet.